If you relate to at least 3 of these, your childhood may not have been as safe as you thought, and the signs are quieter than you expect. When people think about a difficult childhood, they imagine something obvious: abuse, neglect, chaos. But psychology tells us something deeper. Not all trauma screams. Some of it whispers. Some children don't grow up rebellious. They grow up responsible. They don't grow up loud. They grow up strong. Too strong. In this video, we're going to explore 7 subtle signs that someone experienced emotional difficulty growing up, even if everything looked fine from the outside. This isn't about blaming parents, and it's not about labeling yourself as broken. It's about understanding patterns, because awareness is where healing begins. Let's start. You rarely ask for help. Even when you're overwhelmed, you say, "I'll handle it." As a child, you may have learned something very early. No one is coming. So you adapted. You solved problems alone. You comforted yourself. You figured things out quietly. Now people admire you. They call you strong, mature, self-sufficient. But deep down, relying on someone feels unsafe. Not because you don't want support, but because you never learned that support was consistent. Independence became your armor. You can sense tension instantly. A slight tone change, a subtle facial shift, a pause in someone's voice. You notice it all. This isn't random. If you grew up in an unpredictable environment, reading the room wasn't a skill. It was survival. You had to detect emotional shifts early to avoid conflict or emotional danger. Now you're called empathetic. But sometimes it's exhausting, because your nervous system is always scanning, always alert, even when nothing is wrong. When someone loves you, part of you waits for it to disappear. You may think, they'll leave eventually. Or, if they really knew me, they wouldn't stay. Maybe love felt conditional growing up. You were praised when you performed well, accepted when you behaved, noticed when you achieved. So now you tie your worth to performance, and unconditional love feels unfamiliar, even suspicious. You're the peacemaker, the fixer, the emotional manager in the room. As a child, you might have learned that keeping others happy kept you safe, so you became agreeable, understanding, overly mature. You're hard on yourself. Mistakes feel bigger than they should. Failure feels personal. Maybe small errors once led to big reactions, criticism, withdrawal, disappointment. So you learned, don't mess up. Now you push yourself constantly. From the outside, it looks like ambition, but inside, it feels like fear. Because perfection isn't about excellence, it's about safety. When someone asks, "How do you feel?" you pause, not because you don't want to answer, but because you genuinely don't know. As a child, maybe emotions weren't welcomed. Stop crying. You're overreacting. It's not a big deal. So you learn to suppress, to disconnect. Now you understand others deeply, but when it comes to yourself, it feels blurry. You might confuse anger with sadness, or numbness with calmness, because no one taught you emotional language. People see you as resilient. You don't complain much, you handle things, but inside, you're tired. Tired of always being the strong one. Tired of holding it together. Tired of not feeling allowed to fall apart. As a child, maybe you learned, don't be a burden, don't cause trouble, don't need too much. So you minimized yourself. And minimizing yourself for years is exhausting. If you recognized yourself in several of these signs, it doesn't mean you're damaged. It means you adapted. You survived in the best way you knew how, and those adaptations helped you then. But you don't have to live in survival mode forever. You can learn to ask for help, to trust slowly. To understand your emotions, to rest without guilt. Your childhood shaped you, but it doesn't have to define you. If this video resonated with you, comment the number you relate to most. And remember, you're not weak for feeling this way. You're human, and you're not alone.